Kevin Sorbo joins me today to talk about his role as Rayford Steele in the new Left Behind movie, Rise of the Antichrist. Thank you for joining me, Kevin, today.
My pleasure. I love talking about this movie. It's a perfect movie for the times we're living in right now. I think that, somebody asked me, well, why was there such a long wait between the last one, it was 8 years ago, and then today? And I said, because it was God's timing. It's a perfect time to show a movie like this because you see all the anger and rage and divisiveness in the world right now. And it feels like the rapture, if it hasn't happened, it's well on its way. So I think this is a perfect time for this movie to come out.
Oh, it is. And what are your concern about the issue of the Antichrist in the world that we're in right now?
Well, you and I know how this all ends. So I don't know if I have a big concern about it all. I think that I don't fear what's coming on the pipeline because I am a Christian. I've been a Christian all my life. But I do fear the anger and hatred of what's happening in the world right now. The number of innocent people, the number of good people that are being hurt by people and being controlled by governments all around the country, not even our own government. I mean, you see what leaders are doing everywhere. And the Revelation talks about, the Antichrist rising and people following this leader that is so charismatic and really basically the son of Satan, not the son of God. So I look what's happening right now in the world and the fear as the major weapon for governments everywhere, to us controlling our lives and just making people's lives miserable. And I don't know, I looked at this movie when it first came out. I love the fact that they rewrote it. 2 years ago, they started doing a rewrite on this from what they showed me 6 years ago from the script I had. It's quite a big difference because they brought in everything that's happening right now. They bring in the pandemic. They don't name it, but they say pandemic. So people will know. It's not something that people are going to scratch their heads about. And I love the fact that it seems to be coming out at a time where people need it more than everything. Because if anything, this action thriller movie has. And some people look at it as a sci-fi movie because they don't believe in the rapture, they don't believe in the Bible. I don't care how you look at it. I want people of all beliefs and non-beliefs to watch this movie because I think it will strike a chord with everybody in some way. And hopefully it makes people open their Bibles again and read the book of Revelation because it is a pretty interesting and fascinating book. It's so different from anything else in the Bible. I think people will look at it as a sci-fi book, but I don't care how they look at it. I hope they take a look at it and take a read of it because they'll learn something from it.
Oh, they will. The book of Revelation is so intense and has so much information in it. And of course, as many people know, that there's a special blessing for those that read the book of Revelation and take heed and follow what the recommendations are there. But for many people that may have not seen you before, I know that you've had experiences as playing the role of Hercules in the Hercules TV series and the really wonderful movie God's Not Dead, which I so enjoyed. And of course, there's Let There Be Light. I remember that as well.
Yep. I've been lucky to do a lot of these. I mean, really, my first faith-based movie was with Dallas Jenkins, which is interesting now that I'm doing Jerry Jenkins' book from the Left Behind book. So that's Dallas's father. But really, my first faith-based movie was with Dallas, who's really doing amazing work with The Chosen right now. And I just, we did a movie called What If? It's the same writers that did God's Not Dead. I hope people see it. If you love God's Not Dead, What If, in my book, I'm just being honest, is a better movie. And it's just the difficulty with these independent movies like Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist is getting out there with word of mouth. We don't have $100 million advertising budget like James Cameron does and like Avatar and Avenger movies and Pirates of the Caribbean. We got to rely on people like you out there that want to fill up these churches. So please talk to your church leaders. Please talk to your whatever groups you have, your social media. Because movie theater owners don't care what they show. They want to sell popcorn and sodas. And this is a great movie. We're on 1,500 screens. So go to leftbehindmovie.com. That's leftbehindmovie.com. Sign up there. You'll see the trailer for the movie. You'll see put in your zip code. It shows you what theaters are near you. So we need your support because people tell me all the time, please make more movies like God's Not Dead and Let There Be Light. While I'm making them, you got to support these movies. Otherwise, they won't last in theaters very long.
Those that are watching this interview, I'm going to have that trailer at the end of this interview with Kevin Sorbo. It's going to go great to have a kind of preview of what's going on. Regarding your role as Rayford Steele, what are the challenges in this new Left Behind movie regarding the rise of the Antichrist?
Well, it's a sequel to the last one they did that came out. Nicolas Cage played that role. I took over that role. I've also been very honored to direct this movie as well. And it's 6 months after the rapture now. So 6 months have gone by where people have had all this time now to really think about what they saw and what happened. And you're going to get deniers. You're always going to have deniers, even though millions of people will disappear. And then you have people like Rayford that knew his wife was a Christian, knew his son was a Christian. And he was on a plane. He saw his co-pilot disappear. He saw many people on the plane disappear. He witnessed it. He saw it. And now he realizes the rapture that his wife always told him about and talked about was actually true. So now he goes on his own journey, his own redemption journey. And he becomes a Christian in the movie. So this isn't like giving that part away. It's his growth now to follow what his wife wanted him to do. And now he knows he's got a chance through the tribulation now to make amends with God, to make amends with his wife, and realize that everything she spoke, even though he ridiculed her all those years, she was telling the truth and she was right. So it's his journey as well. But there's a number of different stories that come together at the end of the movie. It's a wonderful script, the way it was written together from Jessica Parker and Paul Lalonde. Paul Lalonde and the Cloud 10 guys have owned the rights to these books for 30 years now, 35 years. They've had it for a long time. It started with Kirk Cameron when they did a number of movies with him as well. So in fact, Kirk Cameron just texted me the other day. So I owe him a phone call to see what his thoughts are.
Yes. There's so much to know about this, and definitely it's going to be great when this movie comes out. We do want to encourage people to support these wonderful, these good movies, because we need to have a lot more good movies out there. And thank you for your role in this Left Behind movie. Do you expect any more Left Behind movies in the future?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I just got an email a couple of days ago from Paul Lalonde. They love what they see so much. The investors of this film are very interested in doing a sequel to this now. So he is actively coming up with ideas and starting the pre-writing on it now. And hopefully I'll be directing and acting in it at the end of this year. So it'll be out, about a year and a half from now, and theaters again to follow up this one.
That's great. I'm looking forward to it. What about, how did you come about your faith in Christ Jesus? What was that experience like for you?
I grew up in a very religious family. I grew up in a small town, Minnesota, typical Scandinavian, Norwegian bloodline. We're Lutherans, St. John's Lutheran Church. It was always very important to me. It was always part of my life. And I think the really instrumental years were during my teenage years. From time I was in 7th grade till high school, we had a place at our church called The Room. And The Room was a hangout for the teenagers. And our youth pastor, Pastor Lee, was always running it. And Wednesday nights, that was the place to go to and hang out. I'd go there after football practice on Wednesdays or basketball practice, and we would hang out and talk about the Bible, talk about life. It wasn't just, he would always want to bring modern day into the Bible into the modern day, is what I'm trying to say. It was always like, how does this relate to your life today? How does this chapter of the Bible relate to you now? And we talk about stuff, and he made it very cool and interesting for me. So he was very instrumental from a young teenager, kind of going through the changes of life that life brings you at that age, and just trying to understand it all. So that was huge for me.
Wonderful testimony. If people want to know more about your testimony, your experience with Christ, and other information, what websites do you recommend?
If you go to sorbostudios.com, sorbostudios.com has my website mixed with my wife Sam's website. We have a lot of information on there. Please leave information to you. We'll keep you up to date for things coming in the pipeline. My wife's an advocate for homeschooling. She travels the country doing this. She's got a number of books on the website that deals with that. I think one of the blessings of COVID is that 2 million more families are now homeschooling, because they finally woke up to the fact that public schools are totally indoctrinating our kids. With alternative lifestyles, pushing critical race theory, all these things that none of us had to grow up with before. It's crazy. This whole woke culture is actually making a dent into making a life in the world even worse. And people that, are judging us, telling us how horrible we are, but apparently these are perfect people. So maybe we need these people to write books and have speaking engagements to talk about how to be a better human being, because I guess they understand what's a better way to go, pointing out our faults, because apparently they have no faults whatsoever. So it is the hypocrisy of the world is it's ridiculous right now.
No, it is. So for those that want to know more information about you have a upcoming trip regarding Israel, don't you?
I do. My wife and I are taking a second group. We did it back in 2019, pre-COVID, when they shut down the world. Of course, they shut down churches, but they left strip clubs open. So I'm trying to still scratch my head around that one. And but it's called SorboIsraelTrip.com. We only have 8 slots left open. We've sold 52 of the 60 spots. Please join us. I know it's a bucket list trip for many people who have never been before. And I know other people probably want to go back again if they've been there, because this is an amazing country. It's the cradle of civilization. It's where it all started. And I hope people will come and join us. Because even the strongest atheists of the world, like a Dawkins or a Hitchens or a Singer, do not deny that there was a Jesus, that was a man that would be a prophet and preach a lot. So I hope people will join us. SorboIsraelTrip.com. It's an amazing trip. My whole family's coming along, and we have 3 amazing guides, and we have a couple of extra people that are going to join us for dinners and do speeches for us that I met just last May when I was there doing a documentary on the Ark of the Covenant and the Tabernacle, which will be out later this year. So you and I will talk about this in the fall when it comes out. It's called The Quest for the Throne. It's an amazing documentary that we discovered the path of the Ark of the Covenant and Tabernacle through archaeological digs. So I hope people join us. SorboIsraelTrip.com.
Well, that's great. You know, I think about our Jewish Messiah. Jesus is a Jew, and the significance of Israel. And it's such a special place to be there. I've been there at least 20 times.
Wow.
How many trips to Israel have you had so far?
I've had 4, and I want to keep going, because every time I've gone, I've just found more interesting places to go. And of course, there's some places you just want to go back to time and time again, like the Sepulchre, the Church of the Sepulchre, where Jesus was crucified. So I think people find this trip pretty amazing, and we have some special surprises for people who join us to go to places that most people don't get to go see.
That will be great. I hope they'll be able to join you very soon. So, Kevin, thank you for joining me and then sharing your testimony and about the Left Behind movie. Once again, leftbehindmovie.com. Yep. People can see more information about that. And God bless you and your family. Good health. Appreciate you and all that you've been involved with these wonderful inspirational movies.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Harper. Appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. And go to the movies, guys. Fill up those theaters.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Kevin.
All right. Thanks.
Appreciate
God bless.
Hi there, Sam Sorbo here.
And Kevin Sorbo is right here, right next to her.
That's right. He's right here. We're going to Israel next May.
We are. We did this once before in 2019. It was an awesome, wonderfully successful trip. And we're going May 17th through the 28th in 2023.
And the good news is you're invited.
You are. You're invited.
It's not just us bragging about going to Israel.
You need to go to SorboIsraelTrip.com. SorboIsraelTrip.com and sign up. All kinds of information. It's got the itinerary on there. It's got the pricing. It's got everything. You need to join us, because we're going to walk in the footsteps of Jesus. You'll love it.
You know what? The best endorsement that we could possibly have is many of the people who came with us 3 years ago when we led this trip to Israel, walking in the footsteps of Jesus, are actually joining us again.
They want to come
That's
again.
how meaningful it was.
Couldn't get enough
for them.
of us, so they're coming back.
Maybe couldn't get enough of you, but I think it was more Israel.
You're going to see so many things, and we've added a few extra things in there too, because I just finished a documentary there just like 3 months ago, and so we made some good contacts, some great speakers as well that are going to talk to all of us.
So we're very excited. So please join us. Go to SorboIsraelTrip.com.
Thank you. Bye.
If someone had told me that millions of people were just going to disappear, I, like you, would have said they were crazy.
Was it the rapture?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Are you sure? I mean, are you really sure?
I saw it happen.
Those weren't vanishings.
It wasn't the rapture. The rapture was debunked on the first day.
The second wave of vanishings has thrown the financial markets back into chaos.
Trust me. You want to make sure you're on the right team.
You're already teaching them the art of fake news?
I just wish I could see you one more time. Why are you still here?
Because I asked God to leave me behind.
We don't need to look for magic. They're not a bunch of religious wackos.
Wackos like my mom.
Fortunately, we have a solution. We can implement Eat and Pay worldwide in a matter of weeks. Welcome to the future.
I gotta look inside the Eat and Pay platform, and it's a whole lot more than a glorified bank card.
So you're just admitting to being crazy?
Yes, I'm quite comfortable with that. When it is all over, half the world will be dead.
This is the biggest news story since the vanishings.
You listen to me. You drag this line of nonsense into the public eye. We're both finished.
Now I'm more like an actor.
The Antichrist will declare himself as God. Seemed like a stretch even for them.
How do we know who we can trust?
Trust God.
The world is suffering. We are on the brink of mass insanity.
What happens to the rest of us?
Doesn't it seem strange that it's still so easy to dismiss it, even though we saw it with our own eyes.